Now that the New York gang war has come to an end, will Miles and his brand new arch-nemesis, the Rabble, reignite their animosity? Well, let's hop into the pages of Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 17 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we check back on in with Renee, aka the Rabble, not long after the final battle of Central Park. You may recall that the only reason she joined the fight in the first place is because Hobgoblin and then eventually Madame Mask promised her a cure for her problem. It seems that ever since her last battle with Miles Morales, her technomancy has been on the fritz. Oh sure, she can still direct her advanced drones to help her rob a Roxxon facility, but she can't actually talk to them or hear what they have to say, and for a woman who is so deeply alone like Renee is, you can understand why that would absolutely stick in her craw like no one's business. She's also still very angry at Miles Morales and says as soon as she fixes her powers, he's going to be her next port of call. And hey, speaking of Miles, what's he up to right now? Well, believe it or not, the young Spider-Man is doing really good. Despite all the bad stuff that came out of gang war, he was able to reconnect with the newly resurrected Miss Marvel, as well as getting his clone buddy Shift back out into public and back into the whole superheroing thing, even though he isn't met with the best reception by regular everyday New Yorkers. Together, they all make short work of a purposely lame new villain, the very Greek Zip Zephyr, who literally has a bag full of hot air, and who is incredibly hard to nail down because he's so oily, what with the olive oil and everything. Wow, first Frost Pharaoh, now him. Miles is really racking up a lot of joke villains these days, isn't he? After the fight, we actually get a really sweet, really wholesome little scene wherein we see Miss Marvel and Shift actually become friends, bonding together over the fact that they're both able to embiggen and manipulate their body mass. Kamala even helps Shift, saying that if he wants to shrink down, he basically has to practice doing it like working out a muscle, but you know, if he doesn't, that's fine too, because they love him even if he is big and weird looking. You know, little exchanges like this, little moments of characterization like this are absolutely why I love this Miles Morales book and why I love comic books in general. I'm not going to remember gang war as an event now that it's over, but I'm going to remember this little exchange right here. Miles has to leave though, and quickly, because he's late for his next therapy session with Dr. Kwan. Ms. Marvel's really happy to see her friend Miles thriving in therapy, but is also sure to good-naturedly roast him for being late once again, like all Spider-Men seem to be. Now, from there we transition on over to Luke Cage's office, where Agent Gao is having a meeting with the mayor. It would seem now that Fisk's law has finally been repealed, and yeah, I'm shocked that anything from gang war actually affected any other story at all. It looks like Agent Gao's special supervillain staffed anti-hero unit, the Cape Killers, won't be needed anymore. Scorpion and the others will have their sentences either commuted or be returned to prison, while Gao herself is going to get put back on the Vice Squad. Needless to say, she's incredibly pissed at Luke Cage and calls him out for being a hypocrite. After all, how could a hero like him ever hope to understand all the good work she was doing? He was on the front line in the gang war. Even though he was technically breaking the law at the time, why can't anyone see the good that Gao is doing for the city? This whole place is going to eat itself with her and the Cape Killers gone. This issue reminds us the only reason that Gao has such an adamantium hard hate boner for the superhero community is that her partner was killed by Carnage, and because Peter Parker Spider-Man wasn't quick enough to save him, now Gao just kind of hates all superheroes. Also, despite all her talk about holding up law and order, now that she knows her job is getting sunsetted, she decides to go on one last big ride while she still has the authority. Even though in doing so it means that she will almost certainly be breaking the law as well. Damn, hypocrite much? Now, how did Miles' therapy session go? Actually pretty good. He talks to his doctor about all the personal growth he's gone through, how the breathing exercises and everything he's learned has actually helped him become a better Spider-Man, but how it's also giving him a lot of perspective in how he deals with his villains, especially the Rabble. Miles always felt that Renee wasn't a bad person, just a person who got dealt a bad hand in life and was choosing to deal with it in the worst way possible. And even after she burnt down his old house and tried to kill his family, Miles is still such a good guy at heart. He doesn't want to give her another superhero beatdown. He wants to actually try and help her. Hell, he basically says therapy has done such wonders for him, he would love it if Renee was willing to do the same. But of course, in order to get Rabble to see the light, he has to track her down first. Thankfully, Miles has managed to collect one hell of a little task force at Misty Knight's base of operations. So far, they know the Rabble is one of New York's biggest arms dealers right now, supplying not only Hobgoblin and Madame Mask, but several other entities. This means that perhaps the best way to track her down is to go after her customer base, and hey, where do A-list supervillains hang out? Well, the bar with no name, of course. Miles and his friends might not even be old enough to get in the front door of that place, but that's not going to stop them from knocking some heads and finding out some information, but they better hurry. As the rabble isn't their only problem right now, as the comic comes to a close, we see that Agent Gao went out of her way to actually track down the rabble herself. Not to arrest her, though, but to actually join forces. After all, as far as Gao is concerned, her and the rabble are spiritual siblings, right? Miles ruined this woman's life just as Spider-Man took away her job. And it's on that shocking note right there the comic comes to an end, everyone. And so that was Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 17. And again, all the credit in the world to Ziegler for actually picking up a bunch of stuff that was dropped at the end of Gang War and running with it here. I think a weaker series probably would have suffered with how much this new Miles book has been forced to tie into other stories, but you know what? It basically doesn't feel like a problem at all. Hell, if anything, this series has actually managed to build to a pretty damn organic feeling crescendo right here with Gao and the rabble joining forces, as they were basically the big two new antagonistic forces since this book began. I'm also really loving Miles getting basically his own small team here, his own set of amazing friends. Anytime he gets to hang out with Miss Marvel, that's great. I love that they dug Schiff back up and are doing cool stuff with him. Even Tanya is well utilized and gets to feel more than just a love interest. All in all, it's really good stuff. I would give this one a super positive 8.5 out of 10. God, it feels good to like Spider-Man, doesn't it?
Hey there, everyone. It's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description? Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way, everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.